Thank you so much, Superintendent Smith, President Anderson, and the Board of Trustees. Please excuse my attire right now. I am the picture of a very busy mom of 4 kids enjoying summer break. I think I still have sand on my sandals, but I'm here tonight to ask you to please consider delaying the adoption of Board Policy 5020. In my school community, we absolutely love our school. We love our teachers, we love our principal, and I have many friends in the community who also care deeply about parental rights and transparency. And I think it's out of respect for those community members who truly care about these issues to follow the procedure of moving to a second reading to genuinely solicit community feedback and then going to a vote. Again, bathing suit's still on. It's a busy time of year to kind of pull out from summer break and to think clearly about parental rights and genuinely how the parent, teacher, administrator relationship looks like in school. And so I think it's a rough time of year to do this, and I know you've been so responsive to my questions via email, and I thank you for that. I'd love to also provide more feedback to the policy editing committee if given the opportunity, and I know I also have friends in my community who would love to do that as well. So please consider it. It's out of respect for your parents. There's nothing more that we want to see more than our schools succeed and for these home-school relationships to truly thrive. Thanks.
Thank you. Reina Shabasta.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. I want to start with saying thank you to Trustee Bardo for attempting, in her words, to push for a board policy to explicitly address making parental rights and transparency at the forefront of parent and teacher interactions, as was stated on social media on March 19th, following the media coverage of the district's secrecy policy related to gender social transitions. According to the description, quote, "It is recommended that the Board of Education accept the recommendation of the board's policy editing team to conduct this first reading, waive the second reading, and adopt the revisions to the Policy 5020 Parent Rights and Responsibilities. However, according to Ed Code, each governing board of a school district shall develop jointly with parents and guardians and shall adopt a policy that outlines the manner in which parents or guardians of pupils, school staff, and pupils may share the responsibility for continuing the intellectual, physical, emotional, and social development and well-being of pupils. Please do not ignore the collaborative process and the most important role of parents in the development of policy pertaining to parents' rights and responsibilities. Rights of parents must be respected, honored, and protected in our nation's great schools. I request that you defer adoption until parents jointly develop an amended Policy 5020 to align with the Chino Valley Unified School District Model California Parent Notification Policy. This policy requires educators to promptly notify parents about important facts and circumstances involving their child's health and well-being on public school campuses. The CVUSD policy has been legally vetted and approved by several respected organizations. Parents are not public enemy, they are an ally. As I begin my 24th year as a public school counselor and am a parent of 2 NMUSD students, I am clear on the distinction and the crucial need for parents' rights and interests for our children to be prioritized. Thank you.
Okay, next is Haley Jenkins.
In reference to your policy 5020, Parents' Rights and Responsibilities, I have to urge you to keep working on this. Do not vote tonight to adopt these policy amendments. This specifically discusses the rights of parents who were not even jointly involved in the development of this like they should have been and is required by California Ed Code. And you're choosing to present this and vote on it without a second reading while many parents are out of town as it's summertime. A parents' policy without parents. Now, I want to thank, just as Raina did, Trustee Bartow for stating on your social media that you were going to try to push for the board policy to address making parental rights and transparency at the forefront. But this does none of that. I'm not sure where you all started with and broke it down to this final thing, but you basically could have just stayed home the last few months and done nothing, and our rights would still be the same, because your policy is just word for word ed code. These rights already exist. It's like saying we have the right to send our kids to school with a backpack. Did you hear the good news? We have the right to speak to our child's teacher. This is nothing new. Parents should not be an afterthought. Their authority is essential. And in Superintendent Smith's words, he wants to make sure every child is seen, heard, valued, and safe. And this won't happen when parents are kept pushed to the side. Chino Valley Unified just passed a landmark, legally vetted parent policy that seeks to restore trust between parents in the district and explicitly bring parents into the decision-making process in regards to children's mental health and social emotional issues. 2 board members sitting before me told me that our legal counsel errs on the side of not informing parents. So that's a problem for all of us and will likely be for you in the future if kids are harmed by these policies. So I urge you to go back to the drawing board, jointly work with parents on the development of a parent rights policy, and align this with something similar to Chino Valley that actually seeks to involve parents in the educational care and upbringing of their children. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Portia Fisher.
Hello again. I just also would like to echo that I'd like you to postpone. I've been a teacher for over 30 years, and for the majority of it, I've worked at a cooperative where parents are very present and we're 100% transparent, and I love that. I never want to work in any other situation. I think it makes me a better teacher because I'm always intentional and always accountable. And I'm not asking the district to completely change and become a cooperative. My experience with my children in the district was wonderful as well because my children were on a campus where I was welcome and I was there and I was a part of it and even asked. I mean, school site council chairman, PTA president, all of that aside, even on my daily basis walking on the campus, the teachers engaged with me and asked me. And I know there are good teachers that still want to do that. And I know there are great parents that still want to do that. And you can't change a narrative because of a couple bad parents, just like you don't want to change it for a couple bad teachers. So I really would ask that you go back to the drawing board, go beyond what's stated there, and put the parents first, because without the parents, you lose the good ones. And then you lose those kids. If you want to stay strong, you need us. So that's my request. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next is Wendy Boyd.
Hi, my name is Wendy Boyd, and thank you for the opportunity to speak before you today. I basically want to just confirm and to support the 3 previous people that spoke tonight, and highly recommend that you take the model from Chino Valley as your one to follow and to hold off on making any kind of decision tonight, and do more groundwork and preparation for this very important parent rights and transparency. Thank you.
Thank you. Wendy Lees.
Good evening again. One thing I learned when I was on the city council, it was kind of embarrassing the hard way. I learned not to make up my mind before I listened to public comments, which you're doing right now. So I hope none of you have made up your mind that you're going to just pass this on the first reading, because this community has a lot to say about parent rights. The proposed policy needs to clearly address parental notification of their child's request to be identified or treated as a gender other than the biological sex or gender listed on the student's birth certificate or another official record. Yes, any parent would be upset if they found out that their child is at school telling the counselor and the teacher that they want to become a different gender. I got upset at my 5 kids for a lot of reasons. You know, some of them were doing drugs. And I had a right to get upset. Parents have a right to get upset. However, what you're doing by not keeping parents in the loop is wrongly assuming that an upset parent is going to be abusive. Not. Because a parent has a right not to agree with a decision that their minor child, under 18, is making that may put them at risk for a surgery that is going to be harmful to them. And what if you'd keep it a secret from the parents and that child does commit suicide and the school knew? You could be sued. So it's not rocket science to add parent notification, just like Chino has done, because what they basically, if you read their policy, they give 3 days to notify the parent. You have that time to figure out how to approach the parent. If the parent is abusive, then as mandated reporters, your teachers, your counselors, everybody needs to file a CPS report, and that's their duty.
Thank you. Lynn Riddle?
Excuse me, I have to put my glasses on. Good evening, I am Lynn Riddle, a resident of the city. And with due respect, I take a different view and tell this board, well done. I came to personally deliver my respect and my gratitude to the board's policy committee, along with the district admins and legal counsel, that working together, you've done a masterful job, in my view, with proposed policy 5020. I'm guessing, being thoughtful representatives of the varying areas that you represent, you began with some differing views, yet it's clear that the policy that you've articulated, coming as it has through your collaborative efforts, is precisely what is needed at this moment. Your effort and policy is a model of democratic school governance. You've honorably compromised by keeping your principal goal, the education of all of the children in this district, as your North Star. Second, public schools, publicly financed schools. There's a lot of turmoil of late, roiling parental fear and accusations that our public school teachers, counselors, administrators are wrongfully intruding themselves into relationships between parents and their children, that schools are taking away parental rights to direct the education of their children. But I would like to remind you that public education is not intended to teach or to encourage that children be the clones of or the chattel of their parents. No, those children, our students, are being prepared to make their own way in an increasingly complex world. As I see it, the public schools' greatest duty is to provide each child with fundamental skills to navigate, thrive, and to contribute, each in their own way, to a society that's quite different.
Thank you.
And let me just remind you, if I might, that students
We're out of
also
time, I'm sorry.
have...
Excuse me, that is unacceptable. I have asked her to stop. It is unacceptable for the audience to harass or bother people when they're speaking. It's not okay. Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank you. Okay. Do we have a motion?
I have a motion. I have a motion to amend the proposed policy with some items. So